You can just hear the collective jaws hitting the floor as the disciples are hearing this. What are you talking about, Jesus? Have you lived with us? Do you know who's sitting over there? That's Thomas. Thomas doesn't believe anything. He just asks questions. Do you know this is Peter? Peter shoots his mouth off. He doesn't even think. Like, it goes straight from his brain to his mouth. Doesn't pass go. Like, it just says things. Do you know who's sitting around this table? These are a group of ragtag people. And you're saying we're going to do even greater things than you, the Son of God, God in the flesh. You're out of your mind. They had never experienced what they had experienced with Jesus. The sick being healed, the lame walking, the blind seeing. Literally people who are dead, Lazarus dead for 3 days, being called out of the grave. They had never experienced anything like this before. And now they're being told, guess what? You're going to do that. If you believe him, you're going to do that. But you're not just going to do that. You're going to do even greater things than that. It's like, what are you even thinking? You're totally off your rocker. Now, I want to pause here for a second to explain something that we miss about how God works, how God functions. As we've been walking through this series talking about Christianity 101 and what it means to follow Jesus, we are often guilty of believing and thinking that God operates like we do. Like how we approach things, God probably approaches things in a similar way, maybe just with a little more power. But that's not true at all. It's not even close. When we are trying to decide if we can or cannot do something, we often ask this really wise question, and you should ask this question. Do I have what it takes? Do I have what it takes? Like when you walk into Target and you see that really cool Keurig that you're like, I need that. I spend way too much time making coffee, and I need more of that because it's easier. And you're looking at it, and it's like $600 because not only does it make coffee, it sings to you, it does your taxes. It's awesome. Like they have this partnership, with QuickBooks or something, and like it does it all for you, okay? And you're like, I have to have that, and it's like $600 for a coffee pot, and you're like, I think I have to have that. The wise question that hopefully you're asking, or at least someone in your life is asking, is do I have what it takes to buy that, right? That's a wise question. Or if you're about to sign your life away to coach your child's soccer team, a really good question to ask is, do I have time for that? These are wise questions that we ask, right? Before we embark on something, before we step into something, before we say yes to something, the wise question to ask is, do I have what it takes? And we should ask those questions. These are smart questions. Do I have enough money to go on that vacation? Do I have the skills or abilities to do this job? Or would this meeting, this trip, or this extra thing that I'm looking to, would it fit into my schedule? Do I have what it takes? And these are important questions to ask because before you do something, you want to make sure you have the time, you have the money or resources, you have the ability to follow through. God, on the other hand, doesn't work like that. Not even close. He doesn't do that. This is the truth of what I'm trying to say here. God never calls you to do things that you have the capacity to do. God never calls you to do things that you have the capacity to do. That sounds really stupid, doesn't it? With my 3-year-old, if she's wanting something, and I'm like, we don't have that. I don't care how much you scream for Cheez-Its, they're not in the cabinet. It doesn't exist. Don't have it. It doesn't matter. This sounds like the ramblings of a child. What do you mean you're going to call me and ask me to do something that I don't have the capacity to do? This is how God works. Because God has a bigger plan than what we see or process or comprehend. He almost always calls us to do things that we can't actually do on our own. When God is in the middle of something, when he is calling, when he's beckoning you, one of the great questions to ask is, can I do this on my own? And if the answer is yes, it's probably not God. Maybe it's God like prompting you because he has something bigger in store. But God will always call you to do things that you can't do on your own.